Okay, so what if the very things that make creating so hard are actually your greatest creative assets in the age of AI? Today, we're going to explore a really powerful idea: AI as a superpower, specifically for creators whose brains are wired just a little bit differently. And look, this isn't just about using some new software, it's about building a personalized system, what I'm calling an AI exoskeleton, to turn your neurological quirks into some serious creative advantages.
This idea right here, this is the core of everything we're talking about. It points to this fundamental, kind of beautiful cognitive match. We're talking about things like elite pattern recognition, that obsessive need to iterate on an idea, and seeing connections everywhere that nobody else does. Like noticing how the rules of poetry can make a marketing campaign better. The very traits that can make a traditional 9 to 5 workflow a struggle are the exact same traits that let you just thrive with AI. It's a whole different way of thinking about how we create.
You know, every creative guide says the same thing: just start. But for a neurodivergent mind that has access to all this AI, that advice is, well, it's almost a trap. The problem isn't a lack of ideas or not having the motivation to start. The problem is that the starting line itself becomes this overwhelmingly complex place, just amplified by a universe of infinite choices.
Heh, does this look at all familiar? A complete 100 video content strategy and 0 videos published. AI can take our pre-existing challenges and just put them into overdrive. That tendency to go down a rabbit hole, well, now it's an infinite tool rabbit hole. That desire for things to be just right, boom, it becomes perfection paralysis multiplied by machine-generated infinity. You end up with all the blueprints for this massive creative empire, but not a single brick has been laid.
So this is where we pivot. We have to reframe our entire relationship with these tools. Instead of letting AI become this prison of infinite choice, we can consciously design it to be an empowering exoskeleton, a kind of creative prosthetic that supports our weaknesses and just amplifies our strengths. The crucial point here is that an AI exoskeleton is assistive technology. That's what it is. It's a personalized system that acts as this external support for your executive function. It handles the tasks that drain your creative battery. The blank page, the tedious edits, all the admin stuff. So your brain is freed up to do what it does best. Think of it like this: you're just offloading the boring stuff so you can focus on the fun stuff. Let's look at how this actually works in practice. This table right here maps a specific neurodivergent bottleneck to a really concrete AI accommodation. So you've got 400 ideas and you can't pick one. Have ChatGPT rank them by whatever metric you want. Staring at a blank page, use it to generate a rough, kind of bad outline that you can just react to and shape. Lost in the weeds of editing? Let a tool like Descript automatically cut out all the ums and ahs so you can focus on the story. This is about surgically applying AI to your exact points of friction. This, right here, just brilliantly illustrates that mindset shift. Your ideas are fantastic. The problem has never, ever been the quality of your ideas. It's been the friction in executing them. The exoskeleton becomes the bridge that rescues those brilliant ideas from the graveyard of, oh, I'll do it later, or I just don't know where to start. All right, so how do we build this thing without getting lost all over again? Simple. We start with a deliberately limited toolkit. The goal here is to escape that shiny object syndrome, where every single new AI tool promises to be the one magic solution. For us, limitation isn't a bug. It's a feature. It's a strategy. We're locking in just 7 tools. Why 7? Well, it's enough to cover the entire creative workflow without totally overwhelming you. This forces you to focus on actually creating content, not just collecting tools. It's all about mastery over novelty. And here it is. Here's the stack. And you can see it follows a really logical path, right? You start with your core language model like ChatGPT for your ideas and scripts. Then for post-production, Descript lets you edit your video just by editing text. An image generator like Midjourney creates your visuals, while something like 11 Labs can give you consistent narration. After that, a repurposing tool turns that long video into a bunch of social clips. An SEO assistant helps people actually find it. And finally, automation tools like a Zapier tie the whole thing together. This is it. Your complete minimal viable toolkit. So, with the tools locked in, now we need a plan to build momentum. This isn't about going viral in a month. No. It's about building a sustainable process that turns your creative impulses into consistent output. So let's break down how you can actually build this, week by week. The structure here is absolutely critical. Week 1 is your permission slip to just learn, with 0 pressure to create anything.
Week 2 is for building your system, the custom prompts, the automations that make it truly yours. It's only in week 3 that you actually publish. And then the real magic happens in week 4. You use AI not just to create, but to analyze your video's performance data, learning what actually worked. And that becomes the foundation of your sustainable routine. Create, publish, analyze, repeat. Okay, using AI this heavily brings up a really crucial question. How do you keep your work yours, right? How do you use an exoskeleton without it becoming a cage? Well, the answer lies in setting intentional, crystal clear boundaries right from the very start.
This might be the most important slide in this entire explainer. You have to define your human-only zones. Let AI generate a first draft, sure, but you have the final creative say. Let it analyze data, but you choose the topics based on your genuine curiosity. Let it create B-roll, but you define the core message and the why behind your content. Your unique voice, your hooks, that final 10% polish, that's where you live. This is how you protect your artistic signature.
Next up, you need to decide how you're going to talk about this publicly. And you've got 3 main options. And look, they're all valid. You can be fully transparent about it, you can selectively disclose, or you can be totally tool agnostic. The crucial thing isn't which one you pick, but that you just pick one and stick with it. This removes that per-video psychological burden of deciding what to say, and that frees up even more mental energy for actually creating.
So we've talked a lot about AI as an accommodation for challenges. But what if we've been looking at it completely backwards? What if the neurodivergent brain isn't something to be compensated for, but is actually uniquely, perfectly suited for this new creative era? I mean, think about it. That innate ability you have to see patterns that others miss, that's elite prompt engineering. The tendency to hyper-focus for hours on something you're passionate about, that's what allows you to build the kind of robust, long-term workflow architecture that most creators might never even bother with. And that obsession with systems, that turns your entire process into a secondary form of valuable content that you can share with your audience. Your perceived deficits are actually high-value skills in this new world. And this all leads us to this fascinating paradox. The fear is that using AI makes you less authentic, but the reality so often is the exact opposite. Without AI, your brilliant ideas might die on the vine, silenced by executive dysfunction. The world gets a less authentic version of you, which is silence. With AI, those ideas get out. The world gets your actual thoughts published. So AI isn't replacing your voice, it's amplifying the voice that was being silenced all along. I really want you to let this one sink in for a second. Read it, internalize it. The idea that you have to do things the hard way just to prove your worth is a total myth. You don't owe anyone a performance of struggling. You are allowed to use the tools that make your work possible, the tools that make your own excellence accessible. In an age where creativity is more and more a collaboration between human minds and artificial intelligence, what if the unique way your brain works, its ability to think in systems, to see patterns, to connect completely disparate ideas, what if it isn't a bug, but the ultimate feature? What if you were perfectly designed for the future of creation